Hello, hey, what's up? Hopefully, I think I'm streaming or whatever it's called, live. Yeah, I'm going live. I don't know. Yeah, I'm about to just post this up on Twitter real quick, and then I'll just quickly explain. I just want to explain a little bit of like the methodology that I want to use, and I just want to get people um like involved in this a little bit as particular Patreon, and like provide people that are signed up as patrons, a more like closer look. Here, going live talking about my announcement today and the 2020 redraft. All right, yeah, I made a written announcement today, basically just talking about how I'm going to be publishing the consensus big boards. And I'll post this video up, so if you like miss it, like the beginning of whatever, if you get in, if somebody gets in late, if anybody watches this, what's it called? Don't worry, like you could watch from the beginning later. I'll have the video up on my YouTube, and I'll have it up on Patreon as well. But anyway, yeah, I was just gonna talk about. Yeah, I had the announcement today, and just go a bit more in depth as far as like what the process I plan to have for like kind of handling the redrafts and exactly evaluating how well the rankings are doing. So there's going to be me and Max are talking about eventually having like several ways and kind of similar to like a query on Bart site or on Sports Reference or whatever, kind of letting people choose their own adventure, like whether they want to use some particular statistical way to evaluate different big boards, or they want to evaluate big boards based on like redrafts, or they want to evaluate big boards based on their own like idea of a redraft for whatever year or group of years. And of course, for Max and people like him, like a lot of the models that I see coming out recently, in particular, I think like Max's model in particular, I think is trying to project often the rookie contract, or sometimes a lot of models will do like the second and third year of the rookie contract that they'll focus on as far as what they're trying to project. For me personally, I'm more interested in more like long term projection, and that's kind of like where GRIB, the stat that I quote unquote created, comes in. So I'll explain that in a moment what that exactly consists of. But basically, yeah, because I think most people, when they create a big board, even if it would be the more correct way to do it, like from a team perspective, to focus on rookie contract value, most people don't really do it that way or really think of it that way. And I personally don't really make my rankings from that perspective, at least not currently. So that's why I kind of waited quite a bit before I started to do any of this like redrafts and like evaluating big board stuff, because I'm more interested in like the long term projection. And I think that's like kind of to me the value of why I made kind of this stat. So to kind of explain it for people, maybe I thought maybe my audience would be more kind of understood this a little bit better, but I've had quite a few people be a little bit confused about this. So kind of start with a history for adjusted plus minuses. Don't worry, I won't go too long on this. But basically, where adjusted plus minus came from is originally we had just the regular plus minus, like on court, on off, and then eventually a guy named, I believe his name was Dan Rosenbaum, who published the first version of like adjusted plus minus, and what it more or less did is like run regressions on plus minus, from plus minus to like box score stats, but really like putting it in that what is it called, kind of in that context. So really, like every one of these plus minus base stats, whether it's box plus minus or real adjusted plus minus, or dark, or whatever it may be, is kind of in that context of like what it's measuring is how many points per 100 possession is this player's presence adding to the net rating. So the reason I'm explaining all this is it'll kind of explain why GRIB to me makes a lot of sense intuitively, and like statistically, I think it works decently well. Obviously I'm not claiming it's predictably going to be as valuable as, I don't know, freaking EPM or something like that. But I think the reason I'm using it is because I want to focus on players only in a certain age group. Like I want to take out the guys that came in as 18, 19-year-olds. I want to be able to take out their 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old years. And for guys that came in as 23-year-olds, I don't want them to, get extra value, just because they didn't have to have those years when they were 18, 19, 20 in the NBA, because they played them, wherever, overseas, NCAA, wherever it may be. So just focusing on age groups, I don't really have an easy way to collect that data outside of just getting box plus minus from basketball reference, and then getting on court and on off from basketball reference. So having those two numbers, I just essentially did box plus minus. The original version was box plus minus, one part box plus minus, so 50% box plus minus, and 25% on off, and 25% on court. But now I changed. I slightly changed it to make because on off and on court kind of had a larger kind of range than box plus minus, so it's still 50% of the formula. But now I just divide the on off and on court by two, just to make like the range a little smaller. Because when I ran their initial results with the box plus with the on off and on court, just straight up, and having it 25% each, it was what's called too large of a range, and it basically had too much of an impact on the numbers. Like the box plus minus itself didn't um, didn't have enough weight, in my opinion. And just like some guys, like I remember Anderson Varejao did it incredibly well, because I did some like historical research, and obviously Varejao played like I don't know, 75% of his career minutes next to LeBron. But so it made his on court and even on off was quite impressive career wise. But likely because he played so much minutes, culinarity and all that. So yeah, that's basically GRIB. I'll show, like, if you're kind of confused by my spoken explanation, I could also show written explanation maybe alongside this post. And I've posted up on Twitter some examples of it already. I went through like top 50 maybe guards since the year 2000, and I kind of posted the rankings that GRIB had for that, relative to the RAPM rankings of that. And it's, obviously there's some differences there, but I wouldn't say it's like a huge difference, and or like the GRIB rankings are way like look insane or something, relative to um excuse me, relative to RAPM. So that's why, and I'll be using GRIB, and that's what GRIB exactly is. So it's basically just BPM with the on-court and on-off, with on-court and on-off being slightly adjusted, to better, coincide with BPM. And I think if somebody if wants to run GRIB, like for how well it projects win percentage or whatever, point differential next year or whatever, I think it'll do okay. I mean, I don't think it'll like destroy it, but I mean, it's 50% BPM, so I'm basically just stealing BPM. But because BPM tends to overrate, centers and point guards, but you need other players on the floor. You need wings on the floor. I think the on off and on court, part of it, adding that into it, kind of makes up for that somewhat. What else? Oh yeah, so then that's the one part. And then obviously what I'm going to be doing here, um part of the reason I'm making this video also is because I want to get you guys involved in this first redraft that we'll be doing for 2020. So anybody who signed up to my Patreon, if you want to sign up or whatever, I would like everybody to be involved in kind of voting and deciding what we do with as far as the community redraft for 2020, and kind of make our own rankings for a redraft. And then that'll be that'll be like one way to kind of evaluate big boards, is based on our own opinions, and then the second way will be based on GRIB. And then hopefully, if I'm able to gain access to EPM, I'd love to use EPM. I think I have access to time decay RAPM, so I'll try to use that as well. And then, like, any other way, Max, me and him have kind of discussed several other ideas, and also combining ideas, and then also perhaps if we could down the line, probably it's going to take some time, but collect like redrafts from like major sources, like if some big writer at ESPN or whatever does a redraft of 2020, we could collect that, or if I don't know, Sporting News or whatever, SI Sports Illustrated does a redraft, we could put all that in as well as we go into the future. Then I've also talked about already kind of the anonymity thing and how that could be a little bit of issue, but yeah, I'm definitely not going to be obviously publicizing anybody's boards unless I confirm it with them, since I did technically promise like an idiot anonymity to people, and even though nobody gave a shit. But at least the boards that do really well and the boards that do poorly, in my opinion, Max doesn't want to embarrass people, but you know me, I love, I like to have fun with it. So like the best and worst boards, I'll definitely get to those first, and I'll definitely hopefully find a way to reach out to those people and get their permission to publicize at least the very best, the basically the boards that people will be most interested in seeing, like the people that did really well. And then again, to go back, like I was saying, Max, because he is trying to project more rookie contract stuff, I think he might do some stuff on that even earlier, as far as 2021 redrafts, 2022 redrafts, because I'll probably wait another year before I start doing 2021, and even maybe 2 years for 2022. But I don't want to overpromise anything on his behalf, and he said himself that any like we shouldn't expect much, for now, until after the draft, because I'm sure he's very busy with his model and his website and everything. But once he starts getting to it, I think he might be putting out some stuff, maybe even a little bit quicker than me eventually. And his skill set as far as the analytical and the coding side is far, far, far beyond my own. So you guys should be able to see some great stuff with that as well. And obviously, as we collect these down the line, that'll be really interesting to seeing like who does the best over a 2-3 year sample, because hopefully, at least I'm pretty sure a lot of these boards appear on more than 1 year of the consensus big board, and hopefully we'll get permission from everybody to publicize the results. And also, I think will be really interesting is kind of running some analysis as far as like clustering. So seeing like a certain like ideological, like philosophical lens that may be doing particularly well or particularly poorly, and just obviously learning from all these mistakes, I think will be really, really excellent. So but that's like one half, like of kind of like how do you do a redraft, how do you evaluate who's done well on big boards. The first half is like, what do you base on the current redraft, like whether it's stats, which stat, whether it's redrafts, who are the people do we trust. And that's another question also, like, are we going to be the people that are redrafting for this, are they going to be the same people that did the original big boards, right? Because I trust most people not to be overly biased, but got to be always careful with that. And also not even the bias or they're trying to cheat or anything, but maybe they're just ideologically blinded or whatever. They're kind of prone to be ranking certain types of players higher, even if those players don't quote unquote deserve to be ranked that high. So definitely also having kind of redrafts and like input into the redrafts from people that come from kind of different perspectives on player evaluation. I hope I didn't mess anything up there. Uh, yeah, that's I got somebody Firefish. Yes, I can read chat, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. You go back in the video if you want, and yeah, I'll post the entire video eventually. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about in the first half. But now I'm about to get to the second part. Is like, okay, now that we determined how we're gonna figure out the redraft, what's it called? Say like my top 10 is way off. I'm like, my top 20 in 2020 is horrible, but my 50th through 60th guy is all exactly right. Is that really worth the same, right? So that's another part of it, is like that's like the other end of it, where right now what I've done is I'm using Kevin Pelton. He had like a thing where he did pick value, so it's kind of the reason he did it was for like estimating like trade value when you're trading picks for teams and stuff like that. But if you think about it, it fits pretty neatly into this. So from what I remember, it was like 4,000 points for the first pick, 3,100 for the second, and then like 2,700 for the third, and so forth. And like the difference between the 59th and 58th guy is like 20 to 10 or something, like 25 to 20, so it gets kind of exponentially lesser, the difference between picks. So that's what I'm going to be using right now, and I think that's a pretty solid system, and I think most people will kind of agree with that. So yeah, other than that, what else did I want to talk about? I think that's about all. But yeah, I just wanted to announce that I'm doing the redraft, and I hope that everybody on my Patreon will take part of it. And yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody's here anymore. I probably scared everybody off, scared the bitches, or how does it go? I don't know. But yeah, um, nobody's here. All right, I'm gonna end the stream then. Love you all. You guys can watch this on my YouTube and then just ask me questions on there or on Twitter or on Patreon or whatever. Mwah.